Entend? C'est bon? Vous n'entendez pas?
En fait, c'est pas un micro.
Mais je crois que c'est le micro pour la vidéo, ça n'a rien à voir. Ça, vous m'entendez quand même. Okay. Hello, welcome everyone to the mid-morning, let's say. We have frePPLe here. I'm Marie, I'm the business development manager, and this is Isham, who is partner. And you want to stay, he's hiding in the public. Mystery. And we are an advanced planning and scheduling software for manufacturing and distribution cases. So we are connected to Odoo and embedded into Odoo, though it's a different software. So we're not a module, it's just something that you can embed into Odoo. And so far, we've been working with international clients, big clients. Some of them have 20,000 employees, like SAIC here in the United States. Others have only 50 employees, so it really depends on the complexity of the planning process they have or they experience in-house. They are both in the manufacturing, like Excel, for example, they manufacture composite materials. Wago here in Germany, they are in plastic molding, but they're also in the distribution world, like here in Zimbabwe. Halstead is a big supermarket chain. They have like 60 supermarkets, so they use frePPLe for planning the distribution between different supermarkets. And all of them use different ERPs. Some of them use Odoo, like these two here, Scienceco and Paragon in Indonesia. Can you switch to the next slide? Thank you. And here's how the manufacturing module is organized, let's say in Odoo. That's true. That's a screenshot I took on their website. And here's is how it's organized. So you have the planning phase, the manufacturing phase, the quality check, and so on. And what frePPLe is interested in is mainly the planning phase. And what we have observed is that people usually some of them have real trouble planning the production. I see some nods in the public, yes. It's sometimes very complex and advanced computations, and they use Excel. So they export the data into Excel, they make the computation, and then they have to re-import it into Odoo, sometimes copy-pasting manually each product. Imagine if you have thousands of products, it can take hours, even days. In some cases, some customers told us it took us like 2 days per week just to plan the production. So that's why frePPLe exists, and that's what Isham is going to present right now in 15 seconds.
Sorry. Thank you, Marie. Okay, so thank you, Marie. So the question is, why planners continue to use Excel on top of Odoo today? That's the main question why frePPLe is here. And one of the reasons could be because they want to compute a production plan. So frePPLe can actually do that for you. frePPLe will compute a production plan. frePPLe will compute manufacturing orders and work orders which are feasible and just in time. Feasible and just in time, meaning that each work order has a start date, has an end date, has a produced quantity, has obviously the product to produce, the produced quantity, and the work center or work centers associated to this work order. So here you can see we have the work orders, sorry, the work centers per row, and each block here is a work order. Okay, and completely at the end of the supply chain, frePPLe will also calculate the purchase orders you need to reorder to your supplier. So here, for instance, in this Gantt chart view, there's a small video. You can see that the planner can click on any work order. He or she is going to get some information, when does it start, when does it stop, and can make some changes. So see that whenever a change is made, there's a recomputation that is done on the fly. Meaning that, remember, work order must be feasible. So whenever we change something, frePPLe in the background is making sure that the work order the planner has changed remains feasible, meaning that the work center is available and the material is available. Okay? So why would a planner continue to use Excel on top of Odoo? Another option could be to compute some forecasts, and frePPLe can do that for you. So frePPLe will compute some statistical forecast for every product, warehouse, customer combination in the sales order. frePPLe will look in the demand history and is going to test different textbook statistical methods among moving average, seasonal, trained, intermittent, constant, most common used statistical method. And here, let's see an example here. In green, this is my demand history, and you can see in red the forecast is calculated. So frePPLe is going to test all these methods, and for each method is going to compute the forecast error. And frePPLe is automatically going to pick the method that minimizes the forecast error, so there is absolutely nothing to do from the planner point of view. He doesn't or she doesn't have to say, okay, this one is seasonal, this one is moving average. Everything is done in the background. So why would a planner also use an Excel file on top of Odoo? Another option could be to plan the inventory, and this is also something that frePPLe can do for you. frePPLe can compute the safety stock at any point in the supply chain. It could be a finished product, it could be an intermediate product, or it could be raw material. So frePPLe is going to compute safety stock based on what we call business rules. Typically, a business rule is please compute a safety stock which is equal to, for instance, 14 days of demand. So the safety stock will be automatically calculated, and remember that if you have seasonality, we have variation of the demand, so the safety stock, whenever the forecast is low, will be lower, and the safety stock will be much higher when the forecast is high. And frePPLe will plan, obviously, the safety stock, so whenever we do these work orders, we make sure that we also take into account the safety stock to make sure that we have the amounts of safety stock available in our supply chain. Then another thing is, why would a planner use Excel on top of Odoo? It could be, for instance, to make some simulations. So the main thing that we hear from planners is, okay, I have plenty of machines, but I have one of these machines that happens that it has a breakdown. So what is the impact of the plan that I have calculated if I have a machine that has a breakdown? Here I have a small video where I can explain. So this is all my sales orders. You can see that in green, these are the ones that are on time, in red, the ones that are late. So this is the plan that I currently have. And here, this is my supply chain. I have this assembly line, which is a work center. I have two of them. Let's say that one of them is broken, I have a breakdown. So here you see that I have two of them. This is my current plan. I have two lines for the assembly line, so two lines of work orders. Then I can go to a scenario and run this exact same scenario with only one assembly line. And I can have immediately a result. This is assembly line with only one work center. And then I can compare my sales order in my scenario against my sales order in production. So I can immediately have the differences between between production and the scenario, and this gives me the impact of a machine breakdown. But I can do much more. I can easily find and review items which have stock out risks. So that's typical workflow that we have in frePPLe. You can detect the purchase order that need expediting. Sometimes, like just for a couple of days, you're going to be late because a PO is just a bit, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 days late. You're going to deliver your customer late, so you can try to call your supplier and identify which PO needs expediting. You can find stock out excess situation. You have too much excess and you don't see it. Sometimes you have like way too much. If you have a good customer, you may want to prioritize a sale order over another one, because this is a very good customer and you want to make sure you're going to deliver this guy on time. You can track bottleneck work centers. Which work center is today the bottleneck of my supply chain, which has obviously 100% of utilization all around for all my horizon. You have a customer calling you, please, when can you deliver to me a new order of 1,000 units? Okay, you have this in frePPLe. In a couple of seconds, you can find the date. You take the existing plan and you can plan on top of it another 1,000, and frePPLe will give you a date. And you can also, like more generally, have what-if scenarios. You can copy production into a scenario. It's a copy of the database of production, and you can run simulations, whatever you want. You can change the cost, change the lead time, add an extra work center, make any kind of simulation, and see the impacts on production. Then, how does that work? As Mary was saying, frePPLe is a standalone software, but we have embedded it into Odoo. So it's like inside Odoo. The screens of frePPLe are inside Odoo. we pull the data. We actually pull the data from Odoo, and we will we will compute a plan, and we will send the data back to Odoo. Here is a small video where we quickly show how this is working. So if you go to sales order and you create a new sales order for any type of product, so you have a quantity, you have a price, and a requested date by the customer. So you just save, then you confirm to make the quotation a sales order. Okay, I have my sales order. Then you go to frePPLe. In frePPLe, you can actually pull the data. So this can obviously be done in the background automatically, but this is how to show you how this is working. So you import the data from Odoo, and we generate at the same time a finite capacity plan, respecting material, respecting availability of the work center. So you can first of all, before sending the data back to Odoo, you can have a quick look. What does it mean from an inventory report point of view? What needs to be produced? What is consumed as a matter of material? Then you can review also the different work orders. So here I have my work orders, start date, end date, quantity to produce, item to produce. And once you have reviewed your plan and you're happy with it, you can try to export everything to Odoo. So here, scrolling down. Okay, so we trigger this again automatically. We have scripts that can do that in the workflow in the background, and then in Odoo you have the manufacturing orders that have been computed into frePPLe. So here they are. They are ready for execution now. And I'm going to give the microphone again to Mary to conclude.
Thank you. So, well, okay, it's basically over. Just to wrap up, so with frePPLe, the basic thing is that you are able to make smarter plans in one tool that is embedded into Odoo, and to save a lot of time in terms of productivity. The reason why we're here today is that we are looking for new partners. You're working with Odoo, some of you. We have worked in the past with people like Port Cities. You are from?
Canada.
Canada.
I'll try to.
HRT. Okay. I haven't met you, but we will in a second. We have worked with open source integrator also in the US. I don't know if Rich is here, so somewhere. Okay. And we're currently looking to expand our markets in notably in Europe or in the USA, but we know that you guys are the people that are in contact with the market's problem, with people, real problem, who daily manufacturing process. So if you want to talk to us, if you recognize your clients in this kind of problematic, just come talk to us afterwards. So thank you. Do you have any questions? We still have time for questions, I believe. Yes?
How does it work with like single peaks, like you the forecasting? Like in the past, you had like always the same. It's like seasonal, but there was like one special order, which were like a mass order. It was just one single one. How does it affect the computation of the forecast?
This for you? This.
Okay, so this is what we call an outlier. And outliers are detected automatically. Okay. So you allow basically, this is a parameter, but you can allow 2 or 3 standard deviation differences between the mean. So you have the mean for a given product. You can say, okay, as long as it's between the mean plus 2, minus 2 standard deviations, you're fine, consider you're like inside the boundaries. But whenever it's outside this, we trim actually the value to, so we take a bit of it, but we trim it. So we consider a part of it, but not everything. That's one way of doing it. Second way is that you can also make adjustments in the demand history. So if you have like this kind of peaks because you had a promotion or something like this, then you can also make an adjustment in the demand, or you can make an override at the forecast level. So you can either work on the past or work on the future.
Okay.
Good. Yes.
What is the cost?
frePPLe.com/pricing.
Yes. You have a cost depending on the item per location as
Yes.
well as the modules you use. You have 3 modules: demand forecasting, inventory planning, and production planning. Please go on the website because it's dynamic.
So the new client subscribe to Odoo and then buy a subscription to frePPLe. Right. Are they two separate softwares or is it like an add-on to?
No, that's separate stuff. An independent company. So
Yeah, so it's two software
they do a
applications.
subscription.
But we try to embed it as much as possible, meaning that the screens of frePPLe are visible in Odoo. So you just have your Odoo URL, and you have some links that we have added inside the manufacturing app. You can see, for instance, this one here is inside the manufacturing app of Odoo. Yes, you're going to have a link to it, and you're going to have a general link to the whole software. So some screens will have links here and there inside different apps of Odoo, and there is going to be like a main link for the full software. So it's, in theory, it's 2 different softwares, but we try to merge them as much as possible.
Other questions? Yes?
Your parameters are being saved in Odoo? All your parameters to be able to calculate them in frePPLe, or is it some are in frePPLe and some are in Odoo, or a mix?
There might be a mix. So the Odoo parameters are in Odoo, and the frePPLe parameters are in frePPLe. So we're not moving the, I would say, pure frePPLe parameters to Odoo. They remain in frePPLe. Yes, but it's usually, you change them probably once every, not too often.
Did you take into account the maintenance module, the Odoo's maintenance module? So this one will be, we have a maintenance schedule for this work center. We already know that we will have this in the future. Does your manufacturing plan take this into account?
Today we only read the sales order from the sales app. We are not reading the maintenance app. But that wouldn't be, I don't think it would be very difficult. The connectors that we wrote between Odoo and frePPLe are completely, they are open source, and I mean, it wouldn't be very difficult to extend them to take into account this app.
How intensive in terms of IT dedication is to like work with this? Like if I want to buy frePPLe like a subscription, do I need to allocate IT resources like for integration or something like that? It depends on the project?
Yeah, it depends on the project. Obviously, at the beginning, you have an implementation project. Like you cannot, it's not completely out of the box because, okay, we pull data from, frePPLe is pulling master and transactional data from Odoo, but you need always to model a bit, like which work center you want to model. Do you want to model the employees with their skills and these kind of things, vacations and maintenance time for the work center, these kind of things. You have basic training for planners, etc. So you have an implementation project which lasts
2 to 3 months?
Yeah, not every day, obviously, but I would say 2 to 3 months on time frame, and then after that, it's it's deployed. We don't really need any maintenance. I mean, just checking the workflows every night. Usually, it's a nightly workflow that we do. So just IT monitoring, but not more than any other software.
And regarding to the pricing, like it's like different project. The first one is like the implementation, which will have some sort of like a different charge.
Yes.
And you need to see the frePPLe.com/price.
Yes. So frePPLe is a SaaS software. So we have it on the cloud. So you have a subscription for frePPLe, and the implementation project is service. So we or a partner is going to provide the service for the implementation project. So this is going to be major costs also of frePPLe, but it's a one-shot cost. I mean, it's just like at the beginning, and after that, it's just subscription of the software.
Other questions?
Which versions is it?
11 and 12?
Yes.
And 10?
So 10, 11, and 12. Yes.
And the implementation, like you are actually, it's frePPLe, the company that is doing this, or you are working with some?
We have partners. We have partners not in every country. here and there, but I don't know which country you're coming from. But we have partners.
Chile. It's pretty far.
Let me think. I don't think we have partners in Chile.
Discussion with someone in Uruguay. And Argentina.
Yes, I think they're opening something in Chile, by the way. But yeah, I think. But no, we don't have anybody in Chile, so that would be us. And then I mean.
Open source integrators? Yeah, US. They are project in
Okay.
Okay. So open source integrators is one of our partners.
Yes.
Okay.
OSI. Yes.
Okay. Well.
Thank you. Thank you.